What's going on, Sam? Can y'all hear me? What's going on, Sam? You can definitely hear me. Can you hear me, Sam? Okay. I can't hear you. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody have a great day, had a great day, and will have a great day if the day is just starting or not over with yet. Um, as y'all see, we have Critical Role Bowling Supply and to talk about the grand opening this weekend that is going on. If you are in the Georgia Gwinnett area, or if you're not, come on down. Oh, I heard something.
I swapped my mic to my headset instead of the
Oh,
actual.
can hear you now. Sorry for the delay. I had this was supposed to be the first show I had on TikTok live, but of course they jacked something up, and I still don't have access to a stream key, which I'm supposed to have. So that is very, very irritating. Because they made me go through hoops to get it. So it's very, very irritating that it's still not working. Um, but we're just waiting. I'm just sharing this to the different groups. So just give me a moment so we can get this word out. And for those of you who haven't been or seen it, it is a beautiful, colorful center pro shop. I love it. It feels like home. It feels like home. How was your day today, Sam?
Good. How was yours?
It was productive. That's what we'll call it.
Good.
It was
Uh,
productive. Trying
Gotcha.
to balance the family life with everything. It is yeah. It is definitely something. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
I'll tell
Josh and
you
I
that.
were pretty busy at the shop today ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know if he had told you I had stopped in there yesterday and just hung out for a little bit. What did Josh send?
Probably something along the lines of, I don't know how anything works.
He just sent the stream that I meant the link that I just sent him.
You click on it.
That's
You click on
it.
it, Josh. Man's copying and pasting.
Right. So while we're waiting on Josh, we can switch gears just a little bit while we're waiting on him. Um, the new district, new teams. What are your thoughts? I know you're extremely happy.
New districts, new teams. I haven't looked at them. Did they
Well,
announce
not the
them?
new district, but I'm pretty sure our district is gonna look different again for the third year straight.
Um, I mean, I think we have that I know of. We've got four confirmed. Well, three
Mhm.
teams paid.
Yeah.
So that gets us to nine without the two South Carolina teams. I'm still trying to scam at least one other team into creation. So
Yeah, because rumor is four. Like you said, I know about three. I
yeah,
don't
the
know
fourth
about
one wasn't paid last I saw. Like they signed up for a team, but they didn't. They haven't submitted their dollars.
okay.
So until they pay, they're not real.
Right. No, I agree with that. I'm not
So,
mad at that.
but yeah, I
Just
mean, I think it's good. Um, Mostly because we need more teams in the district. just overall. But then also, the further we expand this way, the more hands we tie with the powers that be to give us what we want, which is more events down this way. So
Well, let me. Okay, let me. Yo, first of all, there he is. Way, there he is.
Sorry. It took me a minute to learn how to like pull up the link and everything.
Hey.
buttons are hard. Buttons are hard.
Yes, pushing buttons are very hard.
But funny thing. I'm glad he said something. I need your opinion. Like before we really dive into the grand opening this weekend. And once again, I want to say, like, congratulations, Sam, because I know to have a vision and have that vision come into light. First, I want to give you your flowers for this accomplishment. I know sometimes in starting a business, especially something that you're passionate about, it can definitely be difficult for other people to see it. But you have done a great job in getting it started from the vision to the actual into actually it happening. So I want to first and say great job to you. Congratulations. I know it's not easy, but I definitely want to say I'm extremely proud of anybody who's able to make their passion into not only and I don't want to I keep trying to find the words because I don't want to call it a job or a or because
it's a job for Josh.
Because I know, speaking, from business owner to business owner, I know when it's a passion and something you care about, it's not really a job, because it's not work when you really care. So I want to say congratulations, man, and I'm extremely proud of you. From the time I first met you to now, definitely see the growth and everything you have done in this area as far as with Critical Role. So I want to first just say congratulations and to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But let's before we get down to business, while he's up here, I have to ask. One of us may be facing Stay Dangerous.
Okay.
Now, what is your thoughts? Because word on the street is that we're not ready for their liveliness, their loudness. We're not ready for their antics. We don't know how to handle that.
I mean, all I gotta say is they're third in their district behind NWO, who Darnell, Danny, and myself bowled last year to get into Battle Bowl, and I had to pull myself after 2 because I was -2 for 2, so I did pull myself, but we've already seen it. We've already seen it. So me and Danny were actually talking about it the other day about like, oh, do we change the lineup at all if we bowl someone like Stay Dangerous? I think there's 1 or 2 people we have that are new to the UBA that might not be able to handle it as well. But I was talking to someone that was at the Gauntlet this past weekend who was, I guess, near one of their teams. And I won't name names, but the quote that I was given was, "That's a lot of energy for being trash." I don't know what the scores were. I wasn't there. I was 2 states away, but that's what I was told was that's a lot of energy for some bad scores. So we'll see.
I know. I ain't gonna lie. I think first and foremost, if the outsiders pull Stay Dangerous, first round, it is going to be hilarious. Number 1. Number 2, the funny thing to me is how they think how they don't think we are live or we can handle that. That's the funny thing to me. I hope we pull one of them. I give it second round. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them out the first round. I hope one of us pulls them the second round. I do hope we play them. I think it's going to be fun first and foremost. I talked to a lot of their guys, and I tried to set. We're going to set up something, but as soon as I opened my mouth, it was like, "Oh, we're going to destroy y'all." And I was like, "Y'all too quiet." I was like, "You have no idea."
I actually think the way it was described to me, essentially neither of us will play them as it stands, because if Goat gets in as the wild card, they have more overall points than both of us, so we both move down to 23rd and 24th respectively, which would put us on a different side of the bracket, I think. And if they still have the opportunity in not this weekend, but I guess next weekend, to, if they do well enough in their 3v4 match, then they can move themselves up a spot. So they can go from 22nd to 21st.
So the wild card can jump over people who made the playoffs?
The way that it was described to me was, yes, they are seeded based off of their total points. They don't automatically come in as the 24 seed. I do not, like I said, that didn't come from Jason, so it could be differently, but that's what I was told, was they are not automatically the 24 seed just because they're the wild card.
Yeah, that's crazy. To me, if you get a wild card, then you should be
at the bottom.
Yeah, that only makes sense. But Ray said you're correct. So hey, it sounds, that's weird. But we'll see what happens. That sucks that we have to wait a whole nother week before we even find out. These bye weeks suck, but I understand it. It is what it is. So they still have a whole nother stop to do. So that's crazy. So, but I only wanted to start that trouble because I saw Gustavo in here. What up, Gustavo? But keep the energy, man. Keep what you're doing too, Gustavo, man. We see it and we love it. Just to let you know, like we love the energy. My goal is to bring that energy to our division next season. So because I'm tired of these people not knowing what the true UBA culture is. Too much crying going on, too much complaining, too much explaining about why you didn't do this and why I did this and all of this. It's too much complaining and crying. So I think I'm looking forward to next season. You're definitely going to see a different outsiders next season, because you think we were bad this season. It's going to be worse next season. So I just want people to just get prepared and really embrace the UBA culture, like embrace it full through, because we got two people on the show today that both been to Battle Bowl. Josh been to Battle Bowl when he still had a bottle in his mouth. I'm not even sure if he was legal yet, but how
with Bufu, right?
Yeah, with Bufu. Yeah, your best friend Leonard. You had people who don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but you coined the phrase FLF, correct?
Yes, I did.
Josh is, so people who don't know, Josh is the originator of the FLF hashtag.
And I put it on my jersey to prove it.
Had it on his jersey. So
it's fucked up.
Last time Stan was on here, we talked about his Battle Bowl experience. Josh, give us what it was like being in Battle Bowl, especially being a new team, first-year team at the time. And making it to Battle Bowl.
I joined it, and I didn't know what I was getting into. And when I went up there to the north, the loudness, the shit talking, everything got worse. I was used to it, though, but it was a lot. But I always had a good time up there. But the caliber of bowlers up there are a lot. And they can strike as much as we do. But it's more of, how I got to say it,
How do you
Whoever
have to say
strikes
it?
the most wins.
Well, yeah.
Well, there, up there. I feel like they all shot 800 when we bowled up.
You mean it's a who carries more?
Yeah, who carries more?
Yeah. So Gustavo, he's on Critical Role now. But Josh is, I guess you can say, one of the founding fathers of DSL.
I don't know if I was a founding father. I helped.
Were you on
start
the first
team.
year team?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went
Close
everywhere
enough.
and I
Yeah.
traveled everywhere.
Yes, he was one of the ones on DSL, and now you're helping Critical Role. Tell me what's the I don't want to say the difference, but what is the adjustment, or what do you think is the big difference in the two teams? As far as when I hold on, let me rephrase that question. From when you was on the first year team with DSL versus the first year team with Critical Role.
You're gonna have to give me a second. I gotta think about how to say this correctly.
Damn.
Now we're talking about just that first year.
First year, like it's both been like a family to me. The first year on DSL, everything was family. We had each other's backs. Everything was good. Had a great time. Traveled with everybody. It's been basically the same with Critical Role, other than Sam drives us everywhere in his Tesla. So
Yeah, so I definitely can say that I wish I would have joined a team before owning a team. So it's I wish I would have had that experience of being on a team, knowing what it was like before just jumping into boiling waters. Because boy, it
a lot.
yes. Now let me ask you this: what do you think? Because I know you're more of a leadership role or Critical Role. What do you think is the difference from the leadership role to just being a bowler?
I enjoy the leadership role a lot more because my opinion matters more to me or more to the team.
His opinion matters more. He said it right the first time. His opinion matters more to him.
And my point about it is like we talk about it, we make decisions as a team. It's not just one person, going the other. I know DSL had their own, leaders to choose for this, but it feels a lot more to me like I have a bigger family now because I have opinions. I can talk about it. We make decisions together, and no matter what, if we have an issue with each other, we talk it out.
That's dope. That's real good. Now, transitioning over to the pro shop, for the both, what made y'all interested into getting into working before we get into the Critical Role bowling supply that started, where the initial itch come from or invitation come from to even work at a pro shop to get you to where you're at now?
Josh, you can take it first.
Can you say that one more time, Martrell?
Where did you start working?
I started at Showtime Bowl with Larry Harper. He had a shop open, then my grandpa ended up buying into it with him. And we were there at Showtime Bowling Center. Then we went down to Macon, then to Loganville.
You said Macon?
Yeah, Macon. I used to drive 2 hours.
Dang.
It's hard to find like a bowling center that didn't have a shop in it at the time. But like I had the itch because I bowled every weekend. I bowled almost every day. I traveled everywhere. I've been across the country back and forth. So I wanted to learn more about the game. I wanted to get better. I wanted to, know things about it. And then the best part about it is when you know how to do your own stuff, you understand what motion you're going into, what ball roll you're going to. If you're seeing something do, say, overhook, you know when to step down faster, or you know how to make moves if you understand your equipment.
I definitely agree with that from the short time I've been in there. What about you, Sam?
I started in the pro shop like essentially my second year bowling in like 2012, 2013. I was actually in the Beaufort Pro Shop with Steve Moan We were a bowler's market shop back then, but that's something I did while I was in college, and I knew I was like, Steve's not going to be here forever, and I had bought a drill press off of the Gardeners back in like 2015 or 16. They were selling it for like $2,500. I texted two other guys and I was like, give me $800. We're driving to North Carolina to pick up a drill press. And so I continued to just do like my stuff essentially after I left Steve when I graduated college. And then Steve went off. He was like, I'm going to go coach, go do his own thing at Vincennes. So not having like, I don't want to say a reliable shop, but a shop that I felt like I knew the capabilities of somebody that was in it. Because back then I lived in Atlanta, but I still only bowled on kind of the East End for the most part. I had just started bowling in like Austell the year of COVID. Might have been my first year on the West End. And then the year after that was Woodstock. And then since then, I've bowled in Conyers this past year. I've bowled at Southern Lanes. I've dealt a few years in a row now. So now I know a few more of the bodies and shops around town. But back then I was like, oh, I don't trust other people with my stuff. And so I felt like there was a hole kind of in the east side of Atlanta still where I don't know that the caliber of driller that's on the West End exists en masse on the East End. So that's how we got here.
Right. Okay. So I know this question would be more from Sam. When did you get the itch to be like, I think I want to build my own?
I think seeing shops in other places, like when we travel for the UBA or out to nationals in Vegas, you can go out and you can see these freestanding stores, and they're bigger. They're not 200 square feet shoe boxes like what you get in Atlanta, because that's just what's available inside of the bowling alleys. No one has, Southern Lanes and 10 back is probably one of the largest. And I think I haven't been in Stone Mountain in like 8 years, but I think their pro shop might be, an extra couple hundred square feet. But there's just nowhere you can go and really see all of the brands, right? Like even like I know Steve is super brand agnostic, and so he will carry all of the brands, but it's only the latest and greatest. It's the last set of releases. He also only has like 200 square feet. He can't have 200 balls on the wall. Literally not enough space. So I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that, if you've got a ball you want and it's come out in the last year, just walk in and pick it up off the shelf.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty dope that you have everything on because I've been to pro shops, and then you can, I think, let's call a spade a spade. Not talking, I don't want to, make it seem like we're talking bad about other pro shops, but sometimes, and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking bad about any brand either, because I love the Brunswick brand. Most pro shops out here, that's what they carry, and then they can only order, the other brands like Storm or whatever with the partnership. And sometimes, I'm not saying that it may not fit your game, but sometimes, you don't get to see everything with all your options, to see what really works for you, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying anything bad about any of the brands, but the first time I actually threw a Motive was from a contest. And I was like, oh, Motive is, they have good equipment, clean covers too, and I think, like you just said, giving people the option of everything is always good, so people can actually throw. Because everybody asks me, what's your favorite thing to throw? And I'm like, whatever works. And I think you should be multi. It's funny when I see guys who only throw Storm, and and you're not even on contract, so I don't even get that. Like, yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's crazy.
But oh, I'm sorry, Panda.
I throw everything now, so.
But yeah. So Josh, now that you're full time into the pro shop, tell me what it's been like working there, and what do you hope to bring to the community now that the shop is there, as you are managing
So
Critical Role's bowling supply.
biggest thing is like bringing the knowledge. Is like you don't have to come and get a ball. You don't have to come do anything. It's like if you want to come have a conversation and try to help your game better, I will sit there and talk to you for hours. And then whatever we need to go do, like we have to go get a pap, we have to go, do a span change, do anything that we need to do to make the person that comes in better. I just want to see everybody become better than the best they can become.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Sam, now with the services that you have at Critical Role, with people who may be confused, being that is a standalone store, let them know, if like Josh said, if they want to get a pap, if they want to, see how you want you to watch them throw, tell them what options that we do have available for them.
Yeah. So before we ever even opened up, I went over because we're within walking distance of Stars and Strikes, Mall of Georgia, which is the Buford location. I went over there and talked to the manager and said, "Hey, we're going in next door. Is it going to be a problem? Yada yada yada." She said, "Absolutely not. Can't have you used to listening on premise." I was like, "What if I need to do a lesson or get a PAP?" So we had that conversation up front, and she was like, "I can't give you any special discounts because you don't rent from us. Fully, not a problem. So as long as I am paying Stars and Strikes their standard rate at that time of day, we can go over anytime and get a PAP. We can do a lesson. It's not a problem. There's no issue with us and Stars and Strikes at all. If you are in an area where maybe the drive out to Buford's quite far, I really don't even mind doing things like PAPs and like just general access point, rotation, tilt, average speed and rotate, or average speed and rev rate kind of anywhere, because that's not a paid. I don't know that anyone is charging for that. That's information you need to know. And we actually did it at Southern at the beginning of the season for our whole UBA team. After the first stop, I rented 3 hours, and me, Rich Halverson, and Steve, for everyone that came, we got their PAPs, we got their axis rotation, their tilt, their rev rate, all of that stuff over there in the bowling factory. And that wasn't so I could sell more balls. That was so that everyone on the team had the information they needed to go back to their ball driller and have the conversations that they needed to have. Now, obviously, I'd love to drill people's balls, but it's just like Josh said, it's less important for me to get that dollar than it is to see the sport and the community grow. So
yes, and I think that is also the good thing about it is that it's funny, they literally just sent me the stream key that we were talking about earlier. But I think the great thing about it is that what I would want to do too, and I was going to share this with you later on, is I would love to start. I think some of the conversations we have in there, people needs to see. And I'm always like, hold on, let me record this. I think a lot of the conversations about bowling that we had, even what was it, last week when we had the conversation of who we thought was the best in Georgia. I think that was a great conversation, and it wasn't, and it was just education to me, to someone who's new to this area. When I see an Ike Leach, and I may not know, I look at him at league, but then I don't know all the things he's done the last 10, 20 years in this area, and I'm learning about it. And then to even know I bowled on his team, so I was like, now it's like when I see him, when he subbed for us, it was like an honor just to bowl with him. And I learned that through conversations. I think a lot of conversations that we have in the pro shop. I think it's great because I think it's definitely I think with so many new bowlers, we have so many people who don't know who these people are, and we just be walking around them and not knowing that they really have set a standard for how Georgia bowling is. So like when Gustavo does eventually finally comes down here, he can see that it's a standard that's set out here in Georgia, and I think a lot of the times those people, like I think you mentioned who'd you said he's gonna kill me because he's on my team. Oh my gosh. Who'd you say, Panda? Who your granddad and him own the shop? Oh my gosh. He's gonna kill me. Did y'all freeze?
No, I mean maybe.
Josh?
Connecting.
Yeah.
I'm just very still. I'm a stone. I don't know who Josh owned a shop with or who his grandfather owned a shop with. The guy over in Athens or something, right?
Larry Harper.
Larry Harper. There we go. Like Larry Harper. I'm learning. I didn't know, the Larry Harper, prior to, him joining my team. I didn't really know much about him, but now every time somebody mentions a story, Larry Harper's name is thrown in there as having a pro shop owner, being one of the guys who helped a lot of people who out here. And I think I'm a big history. So I think that history needs to, keep going. But Panda, what with you, with your knowledge of the game, and I think it's no doubt about it that everybody respects both of y'all game. But let me ask y'all both this because I mentioned this. I've been trying to get Rob on. Rob works to the bone. So, but I want to ask both of y'all this. When someone comes into a pro shop and what are some things that you think they need to know prior into walking into a pro shop to help, you help them better?
I don't know that you have to come in with any knowledge, honestly, for us to be able to help. Because I think we can have that conversation with you. Because a lot of people, and this goes back as long as I can remember being in a pro shop. Someone comes in and goes, I have a ball. If they buy it from us, they bring a ball in. I have this ball. I want this ball drilled super strong. And that's the worst word I've ever heard in my entire life is strong. And so it's always a conversation out of the gate. What do you mean by strong? You want something that's going to read the mid lane really hard and be super smooth or early? Do you want something that's going to be really hard off the spot, so super clean through the front, and then look like someone kicked it down lane? It's all a conversation. I've got people that have come in, back when we were Bowler Smart now, and I've never been one that's like, oh, let me just refit you for fun. It's just, if you are comfortable and there's no pain, you can consistently get out of a ball and you feel like you are repeating shots, I don't need to change your span. Now, if you come to me and you're like, I've got this pain, I just feel like I'm hanging up all the time. Okay. Then that's another conversation to have. But you don't have to come in and say, I'm a 227 bowler that's trying to get to 230. What is the most nuanced thing I can do to get there? If I change all of my pitches by 1/16 in a certain direction, can I do it? So I don't know that you have to have any kind of knowledge coming in, because that's what me and Josh are for. I would say that the way that I speak about bowling and like in the shop is more technical than Josh, and Josh is more fluid and like a more natural. He uses less grandiose verbiage to speak about bowling, and so like I think we play off each other very well, because when I speak at people, sometimes they look at me like I am speaking another language. And I feel like that when Josh talks to me sometimes, because we'll be bowling. He's like, I'm just trying to do this a little more or that a little more. And he's using onomatopoeias to talk to me. And I'm like, I need you to say more rotation, less rotation, more tilt, less tilt.
Sometimes I don't speak English, so.
But it's not everyone speaks the way I do, and some people speak more like Josh. So that's what we're there for. Whether you can speak to me on like the most technical of terms, or if you like to say, I want to see a wha-bam rather than woo. Okay, we got Josh for that too.
It's more like you want to see a skadoosh.
Abby said, not the skadoosh. She said,
Yeah, she looked at me as soon as I said that.
yeah, I can hear the eye roll.
So, what do you think is the biggest misconception from a bowler walking into a pro shop that there is? Because I hear a lot of, oh, they don't do this or they don't do that. What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions of a pro shop when it comes to help bowlers understand what is exactly that we do and how much communication helps?
So
What do you think, Josh?
I just glitched out, so I have no idea what you just said.
He said, what's the biggest misconception bowlers have about the pro shop?
Now I'm glitched out again.
Yeah,
I think I got really bad Wi-Fi.
There you go. He's back.
He's got really bad Wi-Fi. My man plays video games until 4 a.m. every day, but today he's got the bad Wi-Fi. What do you think, Marshall? You think he's got the bad Wi-Fi?
Were you on the 5G network?
I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to switch instead. It says I got bars.
You got 2 bars. When it goes on 2 bars, it's weak.
He's got bars. But we can hear both of them.
You're on.
Yeah, sorry,
you're on Bolero's Wi-Fi.
Hey,
that is true. The Bolero Wi-Fi is.
It's free. Yeah, it works.
Not worth, unfortunately.
Oh, it's free. That's what. Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good way to. It's
some
free.
of the bowling centers you go into, they don't work at all. Your phones will be like, no service, no service.
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, going into a bowling alley is like going into a bomb shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
can you now that you're back, Josh, what do you think is the big? Okay. What's the biggest misconceptions that bowlers have when walking into a pro shop or walking out of a pro shop?
Walking out, I think a lot of them like just need to understand knowledge of what they're getting to. Basically,
need to understand knowledge.
Well, a lot of bowlers just come and say, "Hey, I want a bowling ball because of the pretty color," or "Hey, I want this because it smells," but they don't get the actual things that they need. They're just trying to pick stuff. But like, you're gonna go off of your game, right? You're gonna go see what your rev rate is. You're gonna go see what your PAP is. You're gonna go see everything that you need to become better. And we are there to help, basically explain to them what steps from each one to go to. Mm-hmm. And the conception of that is like, I just don't think a lot of them understand when they come in, I want to get better now, right? And they just don't say how to say it.
They don't know the actual steps.
Yeah, they don't know the actual steps. They're just coming and picking stuff.
Now, you mentioned something with the PAP, and I had a conversation with someone tonight, and both of y'all can answer this. I'm pretty sure if y'all have seen in y'all pro shop career, hey, somebody just gave me this ball, but I want this ball drilled like this ball who somebody else gave it to me, and I like the way it rolled. How important is it for a bowler to have their PAP, positive access point?
If you average over 200, it's important. If you average under 200, you've got bigger things to worry about than the 25%. Like, while I'm sure that Ron Hicklin has pulled this number out of thin air because it helps him sell ball cleaner, the number is always like, oh, like layouts only affect 20 to 25% of ball motion. Okay, maybe. maybe that is true because surface absolutely has to be number one. It's what's touching the lane. But if you were trying to take someone that is a 220 bowler and get them to 230, how many more corner pins do they have to get out a game? One. That's less than 10%. That's less than 10% of the balls they're going to throw that day. So if layouts affect 25% of ball motion, you have the ability to affect 2 additional strikes every game. Every game. So the PAP matters when you can be consistent, or just throw it harder. I think, yeah. If you, because like, who is it? Demetrius on your team, two-handed. He's only been bowling what, a couple of years now, or has he been bowling for a while?
He's been bowling forever.
No,
He's been bowling with
forever.
Well, then I'm not using him as an example. Jordan Jones only been bowling for like 3 years. End of year 1, 179. End of year 2, like 215. This entire like last 6 months, he's been in the, what do you call it? The bowling factory practicing. Like he can throw it as clean as any of the two-handers these days. And the two-handers create so much more energy and rev rate that until the move to string pins gets rid of some of these messengers, it almost like they can overpower a layout. They can, with the right surface. So I think that's why you see more scores from the two-handers these days around not the PBA and not the highest levels of bowling. But if you watch some of the videos where it's like, oh, so-and-so shot 300 that the ball companies post, you're watching it and you're like, that's got to be one of the worst things I've ever actually seen. But it doesn't matter because of the power they're creating. So
you see my 300 videos. I was watching them the other day and I was like, sheesh. I was like, yeah, man, I'm glad I went to church that Sunday. But
yeah,
you mentioned something, and being in the pro shop is something that, and even since been new friends with Robert Sims, I'm a believer, and I agree with you. As far as number one is surface, but a high number 2 is layouts to me, because I see what the correct layouts, have done for me in my game. And you two both has been helping me with pitches and layouts. And this one ball that I've laid out and drilled for myself, I've been averaging 230 with it. And it's a testament to the information that I've learned from you two guys on how to, lay out a ball, what layouts mean, what each number represents, So I'm a strong believer in layouts. Surface first, because I think any ball will work with the surface, with the correct surface, like you said, because that's touching the lanes. But second, I think, but of course, I don't throw as hard as Panda or Demetrius, and Jordan.
Slow.
And first of all, let me say this, Jordan, that's a testament of the outside farm program. He same thing with Rodney Morris. If he stops pot bowling with them Conyers folks, he can get better. Romo. But
I saw him over there at Delk this year. We bowled next to him and his dad every week outside of position round, because that's how the lanes move over there at Delk. Every week. And while I wasn't there, because I think we were at something for the UBA maybe. I wasn't there when he bowled Darnell's team, who's on like the other essentially critical role team at Delk. And Sean Corey had to shoot 300 at him the second game because Romo came out and was like 290 the first game or something crazy. And I remember week 1, that whole team, not a single one of them shot over like 500. None of them. Not him, not his dad, not the other two guys. Yeah. So he's put the work in for sure.
Yeah, we be working on Romo, man. Romo, if we could just get him out of pot bowling with certain people, he'll be all right. But EK had a good question. What are y'all thoughts on selling people urethane that primary bowls on house? Well, I know what y'all gonna say. Besides, hey, you gonna buy it, we're gonna sell it to you. But but what are your thoughts and do you try to talk people out of it?
I personally do.
Same.
It's not like I get it, I do, but at the same time, if you're bowling on house, urethane, unless you're two-handed, is just counterproductive. It just is. The whole reason people bowl on house is because it's dummy easy to throw a ball to the right and get it to hook. What's urethane going to do? All it's going to do is push oil down, and then where'd your free hook go? It's gone. You made it a harder shot than it needed to be. Especially for the lower average. And like if you're sub 200 again, like if you maybe even 210 or less, the consistency and ball release just isn't there. And so now not only are you, let's say you're trying to throw it up 5, not only are you not throwing it straight up 5, now you're messing with the rest of your team's line because you missed one left, you missed one right, you decided to move 20 boards left and try and swing it. It's not conducive to higher scoring as a team for the most part. That's not, I would say that's 90% of the time. I would say if you take out the 10% of people that can throw urethane consistently, I don't think those people bother me at all. Because we bowled a whole season with Branson Brady over at Austell. He threw urethane every single week. Poggio on our team was still high average in the league. Like, if you can hit your mark, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But as a team, your overall scores will suffer if you have someone throwing urethane that just honestly doesn't need to be throwing it.
Now I heard
Just throwing it
somebody
everywhere.
say that again.
Just mean throwing it everywhere. Throwing it
Now,
up
Yeah.
5, throwing it up 20, throwing it up 30. It's not gonna end well for your team.
I can definitely see that. And I definitely agree with you. They definitely need, if you're going to throw it, at least be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
At least be accurate. Now, let me ask you this, Panda. Those times that you worked and also you, Sam, those times when you're starting to build up a clientele for the pro shop, do you feel pressured to bowl better, or that you have to have high scores when working in a pro shop to kind of like get new people in and be like, hey, I'm working at a pro shop, scores was up, come see me now. Do y'all ever feel that pressure?
I think it helps
Or have
sometimes.
when you first started?
I think it helps sometimes because if they think you're a good bowler, they usually might come to you. But overall, I think if you could just have a good conversation with the person, whoever comes in, explain everything that's going on, they'll come to you because they like your personality and who you are as a person. And then if you're helping their game, either as a physical game, dealing with span, dealing with anything, they'll come back because they like the conversations. Like all the talks that we have, like in the shop and stuff. If you can have that conversation with almost every single person that comes in, they're going to keep coming back because they enjoy talking to you.
I agree with that. What do you think, Sam? Did you, when you first started in the pro shop and being known as a pro shop guy, or he works at this pro shop, do you think it was pressure to have high scores?
I think when I first started out, I was pretty young. Like I was 18, 19. I guess I was 19 or 20 technically because I didn't start bowling until I was 18. So I don't think anyone had very high expectations of my scores back then because I just knew I was new. So I think, like Josh said, it's a lot about having that conversation, but also even in, I've been bowling for 12 years now, and for a full season I've never averaged 220 anywhere. And Danny always gives me shit because we can go anywhere in the UVA and for a long run of time, I will still average 215 because I love to split. But the one thing that always gets me is I have people come up to me after every event, every single one of them, especially from old people. Sorry, old people. And they're like, man, you throw
They're
the ball.
probably asleep.
They're like, you throw the ball so good. You just got one little thing and they never know what it is. It's just one little thing and you'll average 230. But I think throwing the ball pretty matters to them more than my score. So that's how I got dubbed like best 215 ever because I just throw the ball really nice. Apparently, I'm gonna say that I think I do throw the ball really well.
Yes,
I don't
you
score
do.
very well a lot of
You're the
times.
best 230 now.
Thanks, David Clark, for your converted 202 sport average. Love that. 2 more years. Let's go. I got 2 more years at 230 because the USBC said average 202 on a sports shot league. So got to be a
That's
230
crazy.
bowler. So
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, don't get me started with the USBC. But so who wants to talk about this weekend? What do we have going on this weekend?
we've got the grand opening going on, which I did not post our day 3 scratch off. Now that I think about it, are we still in day 3? I got 3 minutes. Won't be posting it today. Sorry, everyone. I failed you as a social media man. But yeah, so we got the grand opening going on. It took a long time to get here. 7 weeks for a certificate of occupancy. We got another 6 weeks after that. I had to wait on a sign. It's wrong, but it's up. So now we're gonna have the grand opening. We'll be there Saturday at the shop in Beaufort, 11 to 8. We're gonna have a bunch of deals, bunch of sales going on. Just to come in, try it out. It's the middle of the summer, so now's a good time. If you want to experiment with something, you've still got 6 or 7 weeks before leagues start back up to do it. And so the two deals, or one is not really a deal, but it's just a door prize. So the first deal we'll have going on is we're going to do 50% off of drilling for all new balls. So any ball purchased, instead of it being $50 a drill for one-handers, it'll be $25, and instead of being $30 for two-handers, it'll be $15. And then the second is just for showing up, we're going to give away some like ball maintenance packages. So it'll come with a chamois, a towel, a cleaner, a regular ball cleaner, a dull ball cleaner, and a polish. Just kind of like a Easter basket kind of thing, a little goodie bag. We're also going to have food. We're going to cater Zaxby's and some barbecue. That will be there. We're going to try and keep it going for as long as possible. But I would say if you're trying to grab some snacks while you're at the shop, the best time is probably going to be between 12 and 2 because it's going to be the freshest. We are going to have I have a refrigerator at the shop, so we've got a little extra, and we've got a way to keep it warm there, as do normal catering events. But if you're trying not to eat semi-cold chicken and or barbecue, 12 to 2 is probably the time you want to show up. I will say, as of right now, I don't think we have any plans to be drilling Saturday. It is a grand, it's not a ceremony, but it's like an open house sort of thing. Come in, look at the fancy balls on the wall, look at the nice bag display. Everyone loves the bag display. And just see what's going on. So that's what
I
we've
ain't
got.
gonna lie. That speaking of bags, that blue and gold bag that Abby got, I'm gonna need one of those. Yeah, that bag.
Oh, the
nice.
900 Global one?
Yeah. That bag was nice. Yes.
Dude, you got my business. That's what I'm talking about. That's all it takes. It takes some free chicken, and that's it.
All right. Real quick, I want to backtrack. I'm sorry because I wanted to ask this, but I kind of got you. So just in case so people don't know, earlier when you said we can go over to Stars and Strikes and get your PAP, get a lesson, I can watch you bowl. How close is Stars and Strikes to the pro shop?
It's 50 feet away. I walk up a hill. I make people drive because they have balls from one parking lot to the next one, but I just walk up a hill.
I just want people to know how close it is. So when we say we'll do it at Stars and Stripes, it is literally, you can reach out and touch it. It's literally next door. So don't be afraid when we say come out and get a lesson. We could get your PAP, get your rev rate, get your ball speed, all of that you need. I mean, don't get me wrong. The best place probably still is the bowling factory, which is a great facility that they have out there. Dusty has done an amazing job. Deontay, I think they had a sweeper there today. I was watching some of it on live. Great facility. But the people who don't have the time to drive over there, Sam is great at getting that information. He's almost like a science mathematical whiz. The stuff that he's be teaching me. Definitely had to relearn fractions and stuff. But Panda, what are you most excited for this weekend?
Just get to meet new people, try to get the information, try to, make new friends, show everybody a little bit of everything. Because, with 190 balls on the wall and you walk into other shops, you see probably like 20 or 30. We have everything out there. Even I think we're the only ones in Atlanta that carry swag balls. And a lot of people don't get to see that too. So it's more of showing everybody different options and different things, seeing new faces, trying to meet new friends, and just trying to, give them all the information that they don't know.
Yes. And it's crazy because just when you think you know, there's more information to know. Like
there is,
like
you can learn every day. Even if you
yes.
think you know everything, you can learn something new every day.
Yes, the things that I've learned from Sam, Panda, and Robert is it's amazing because it's a lot. Some days I walk out of there with a migraine, but it's a lot. But I can see it seeping into my game, and how much better I've gotten just being in there working. I want to thank you guys for allowing me to work with y'all. For those of you who don't know that I also work part-time in the shop, and I am ecstatic to be in there because and most of the people who's up at midnight watching this stream, we're all passionate about bowling, and we love to talk bowling. We can talk bowling all day. It's so much stuff, like he said, you can learn from everybody. And these two have definitely had patience with me because I haven't been in a school environment in a while. So, I appreciate their patience with me because I am, they got to tell me stuff multiple times. We got to get things right. And I know that they're doing it. I know why they're doing it and why they're correcting me and why they're tough on me. And it's because, and I appreciate it because some people would just be fed up and, they're like, oh man, this guy, but they're actually, they're patient with me. They're tough on me when they need to be, and I get it, and I appreciate them so much. And I want to go to what's her face's question. I think she had a good question, Lavinus. Lavinus says, "Okay, I'm still learning, but when they say ball up when someone is throwing a urethane, what type of ball works best?"
So it a little depends on where the urethane was being thrown, but essentially urethane is taking oil from the front and moving it to the back. So if you are using a shiny ball, like if you ball up into a stronger ball, something, whether it is more back end or more mid lane, if you're going to a shiny ball, what's going to happen is if the pattern ends at, let's say, 42 feet, now there is oil at 42, 43, 44 feet. That shiny ball is going to hit that and do the wiggle. You're like, and it should hook now, and it just doesn't hook. So to combat that, you really want to find one of two things. Either A, more oil to the left of it and use a duller, stronger ball. So something with a big core and a big dull cover stock on it, because you're playing in more oil. It needs a little more help getting started. The second option is to take a larger, again, bigger core, shinier cover stock ball and move left of where you think you need to be and pitch it straight to the right of where that urethane was. So if that urethane was up 8, you're trying to hook it off of like 4 now as a fake number. Like you want to get around that. You want to make sure that if you miss, you're not missing into where that urethane ball has been. You need to find the friction. And so that shiny ball, let's say it's like a Summit Peak or like a Theorem, that shiny ball is going to skid through the oil. It's like, okay, I'm saving energy. It finds all that friction outside to the right of the urethane and then makes a big move back to the pocket. And conversely, like in the first example, if you take a big ball like the XL or the Deviate Hater, and if that ball was thrown up 8, you are now playing at like 12 as your break point instead of 8. So you're trying to avoid the urethane as much as possible.
That's a great. Now, here's another question I think is a good question. Jacob said, if you want to get coaching but really don't know what you need help with, what do y'all suggest? Or is it just based off of the actual bowler and what you see?
I think for me, as a silver level coach, I think my first lesson with anyone is often like a baseline setting lesson. I don't think I go out with anyone and they know exactly what they need to work on, because if they already knew what they needed to work on, they probably wouldn't be reaching out to me. So we take the 30, 45 hour long lesson and we try and do a bunch of different stuff, right? So it's, I watch you bowl for 10 or 15 minutes. Is there anything in like an approach or release that are like, is very apparent that needs to change? Are you a higher level bowler that's already like, man, I feel like I'm really good 8 frames a night and those other 2 frames are just god awful. Like they're just not good. So maybe it's something a little more mental, keeping you in the zone. Are we not watching ball transition well enough, like into the pins, from the hook phase into the roll phase, through the pins? And so we might do that for 10 or 15 minutes. Like I'll get you lined up on a strike and then I just watch what happens as the ball transitions, because I'm going to try and get you to throw as many balls as you can on that one line in the next 15 minutes, and the lane's going to change. So it's that first lesson. Again, like I don't know that you need to come in knowing what you need to fix, because there are some things that you might think are a problem and they're just a symptom. I think a really good lesson for me, like I try and do just for myself every year or 2 years, I go to a different kind of camp just to see like what's changed, what new things are people talking about, and maybe I pick up something for myself.
I think more people need to hear what you just said. Say that again.
Oh, I was saying that every year or 2 I go to like a different camp as my screen turns black. So hopefully you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, we still hear and see you.
Yeah. So I go to a different, like this past year in December, I accidentally went to a children's camp at Kegel. It was just called winter camp. I didn't know. I wasn't the oldest person there though, so
okay.
they also thought I was a child. So that was
almost
unfortunate.
ready for junior gold.
But I go just to see like what is new and what is new. Are there new ideas floating around?
As much as you know, you still get lessons and you still go to camps? What? So you don't just go buy balls, you go to camps too?
Sometimes.
Oh, wow.
I think I did at Southern Lanes, they had one of the Bull U. Well, I guess they've had 2 now, but I was out of town for the second one. So I went to the first one. Again, people have different ideas and opinions on how to read ball motion, or what's the best way to line up for a shot. And that was actually my biggest takeaway from Kegel was this whole time I've been lining up wrong. I've been lining up too far left. My math was bad on what I thought a ball line looked like off the hand through the break point. and it made a big difference, like instantly. I think I alluded to earlier, one of my biggest weaknesses is the amount of times I split a night. I'll throw 6 in a row, bam, fucking 7-10. I've got 3 a turkey going into the 10th frame. I can punch out for 240, 2-8-10. Don't think so.
Were you watching me tonight?
and that was because of how I was lining up. So my split rate has gone down dramatically, not even a real word, drastically.
New
this
word
year.
alert.
Yeah, I tried to combine words over here, but yeah,
I do that all. We do that all the time in the Black community. Don't worry about it, Sam.
So
now, Panda, let me ask you: what is for new bowlers who's coming in and like I see Jacob in here, we had Tavares in here, and even as we talked about with JoJo, what do you think? I mean, even new bowlers like Joe Ennis, he's new. What do you think? What do you think is the best way to, or how should they build an arsenal?
You talking about building an arsenal, or are you talking about
Yes.
getting better?
Building an arsenal for new bowlers.
Well, usually, like building an arsenal, I would usually go put a big ASIM, maybe a big shiny ASIM, a symmetric, a low end, and then like a spare ball, basically. So you go with like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when you start out with the big ball at the beginning of the night, starts hooking too much, you move left, still is too much, you just ball down one by one. And then also with layouts,
hold on 1 second. When you're saying a big ASIM, can you give an example of a type of ball?
Reality, a harsh reality.
Like a harsh reality, okay.
You go from like a harsh reality to like a Black Widow, or no, say like a Theorem, and then you go down to like a IQ Tour, and then you go down to like a High Road, and then you have your plastic ball. It's like one step at a time, and then you can even put a year thing into that before the spare ball, but I don't recommend it on house.
Yeah, I think no one does. Now when I had a bowler ask this also, and I love this question. What is your example when people say benchmark balls for the new bowlers who don't know? What is a benchmark ball?
It is the ball that you feel the most confident in and that you can repeat shots with. That is my opinion of it. I don't know if Sam has a different opinion.
I have for me, a benchmark ball is if you've got 5 balls in the bag, it's number 3 in terms of strength. So it's if you don't know what you're bowling on, if you're going out to like nationals blind, you don't do practice, you don't do the BJ, you don't do practice, you don't know anything. You're just fully blind. You're the first group out there. The benchmark ball is the one that you're going to throw to say, did this ball hook enough? Did it hook too late? Did it hook too early? Do I need more ball, less ball? Where does the shape need to change for me to strike? So the benchmark is the starting point, the middle of the road of the 5 balls you have with you.
And that makes sense. I can understand that. I can understand both ends because I don't like Panda until you just said that. I'm with Panda. Mainly the benchmark ball was the one I felt more comfortable with. But then, like you said, when you have a ball that's most comfortable, you normally get something that's stronger than what you're most comfortable with, and then lower. So I can definitely see both of them. But yeah, I definitely want to start bridging the gap between the pro shop and the bowler. So I would definitely want to. I don't know if I want to do a book or a show or have a Facebook status where everybody comments, but I would really love to start breaking down bowling jargon because you hear people say like things like, "Oh, I had to get through the front," or "the heads was clean," or the mids, and people that are new bowlers don't necessarily know what that means. Now, I do want to ask a question too, since we have both of y'all here, because something that I hear a lot that I don't think people understand. Oh man, what is this? It's in my track. It's gonna mess up my ball roll because it's in my track. Oh, I got a scratch in my track. Can you please break that down?
Yeah, so the track is just where
Hold
the
on, we
ball
can't
is.
hear you. Sam.
Oh, well, if you can't hear me, I got bad news for you.
I can still hear him.
Yeah, you're good. Maybe me.
Is it you? Are you gone? Josh says he can hear me.
Okay, now I hear
Okay.
you now.
But yeah. So I was just saying, the track is where your ball is in contact with the lane. The oil rings that come back on your ball, that's your track.
Mhm.
I do love. I hear it all the time. I've heard it for years. A ball gets scratched. It's in my track. Is it going to be a problem? I'm like, you see these oil rings? See how they go over your logo? Your logo is definitely deeper and bigger than that scratch is. I will clean it up for you because I like to look at pretty balls too. That'd be weird, Josh. But
Pause.
I will clean it up. I will get rid of that scratch, but it's got to be deep, deep and long to affect ball motion.
No Diddy. Like he's now.
Damn, it'd be like that. I got played.
So with knowing, like you said, the track, and with when we mainly clean it up, I had this conversation with a lot of bowlers, and I tell them, please learn how to use surface. How important is it for a bowler to use surface or to learn how to use surface on their own?
I can't hear anyone now.
Okay, I thought I was tripping. I ain't want to say nothing. But yeah,
I can't hear
yeah, we
anyone.
can't hear you, Sam. Okay, I thought I was
I
tripping.
can't hear anyone.
It's because I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
I
was
coughed
like,
a second ago. No, when I
hey,
turned my
look,
camera off, I coughed.
look, I thought it was my computer. I was just about to let you go until Panda said something. I was just going,
I mean, look, Josh is over there zooted. So,
Oh, yeah.
but I already forgot. Oh, surface. It's important. I think it's important for everyone. I or if you scratches my track issue, I feel you, Sean Corey. But no, surface. Everyone's surface needs are different, and I think that's a really big misconception because we've got. I think my favorite example. I'm going to use this forever now. This year we went out to nationals. The same group that I've been going with for 3 or 4 years. Danny Dubkowski's in my group. Danny Dubkowski had a lot of tilt at one time, like 90 degrees of axis rotation. Because my mom's like, let me see how much I can spin it like a top. But so he had a big problem not ever being able to get anything started out at nationals. Like it didn't matter. We put 500 on something, man's ball is still going straight, 80 feet back. This year, we talked to Chris Arcaro. He's like, listen, you're going to need the surface for singles and doubles. You're going to need it, all of it. We hit one of Danny's balls with an 80 grit pad, a CTD 80 grit pad. We were walking around showing people because you could see you could feel it with your eyes.
You could feel it when you touch the ball.
Thanks, Josh. That's what hands do. But so for singles and doubles, I used a 500 grit Optimum Idol, a 3000 grit Brunswick Beyond Infinity, and a out of box shiny Endeavor. And I go like 620, 660. It was 615, 660. But anyway, I then, for Danny's example, Danny used an 80 grit Innovator Solid, a 240 grit hitter, and a 500 grit zigzag. And Danny went like 640, 660. Now, we're not out here with the Stu Williams and who's the other podcast guy that just took over singles or whatever. Like those guys are super good. Me and Danny are not that good. I'm happy to shoot 1850, 1900 every year. But so we both, or I guess he beat me out, but he shot 1300 for those two sets using no ball higher than 500, while I had a ball that was shiny, and we both shot 660 that second set. So it's important to find your own surface need, because no two people are alike. And if you're the Joe Innes's of the world and you've got 0 degrees of tilt, he won't listen to me. But you need less surface. You need more shiny balls. You need that ball to retain energy. And if you're the Danny's of the world and you're trying to have 30 degrees of axis tilt for no reason, I don't want to see you with anything over 1,000 most of the time. And if you take a 500 grit ball and toss that on a rack in league, people are going to look at you like you're actually a crazy person. That's what they're going to do. But if that's what your game calls for, that's what you need to be doing. So
now let me ask you this: when people who's trying to know the surface and learn how to use the surface, can they mess it up? Like if they're doing it on their own and they want to stand their ball,
they can. You can mess it up. You could give a ball a flat spot if you were using enough surface and enough pressure and aren't moving your hand back and forth. Like if you have a personal ball spinner, the ball is spinning. If you take that pad and put it right on top and you don't move it, you can flat spot a ball. It's without something that's like 180 or 360 grit, it's kind of hard to do.
Which new bowlers shouldn't be touching.
Probably not. So if you've just got like a 2,000 pad, a 4,000 pad, some polish, you're not going to mess it up. I got an 80 grit pad that'll fix anything. But that is to say, I would be wary, especially of Brad Miller. There we go. I would be wary of serial numbers these days, because USBT does have a rule. You've got to have a serial number in there. And logos, if every now and then a batch of balls will come out where the logos feel a little thin. And if you get rid of a logo, USBC doesn't like that either. So if you take it to a big tournament, you might not be throwing that ball, even though it's one of the 6 in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
So logos and serial numbers are something to look out for. Serial numbers are easy because if you get rid of it, technically you can just scribe another one in and USBC will accept it.
Yeah, I think with the surface, if you're doing even pressure and you're going around it, it's hard to mess it up. It like what Sam was describing, most new bowlers don't have ball spinners. But if you're going clean and you're going around it evenly, it's very hard to mess up. I tell people all the time in my team, take a box of sanding pads, go out there, throw a game, figure out what you like best. Me and Sean Davis used to do it, Bama. I used to go out there with a box with my drill, my cone, put it on there with some polish, took some polish out there too, because my favorite surface was 5,000 polish, CTD 6,500 polish. You throw that on, it kept me right, kept me comfort. Robert Sims was like, hey, guy, you need to start playing left. Panda says your ball rolls look shitty. We're going to improve that while you're here. You're not going to be making us look bad. So right now I'm trying to learn with this new style of mine of going left, of figuring out what surface I like best. I think right now, my hitter, it was at 1,000, and so was my legacy. Those been the 2 balls I've been throwing. Now I still have a 5,000 polished Troublemaker Pearl. That works good. And then I have a Night Road that's 5,000 with 6,500 polish. And if I want to stay right, that ball keeps me right. I think it's short pinned or it's 8-inch pin to PAP, one of the two. And like he said, knowing the surface and which balls work surface, which work surface. I also went to nationals. Shot very well first ball. Spares was another issue. We'll talk about that another time. But I definitely agree with knowing your layouts. I mean, I'm sorry, knowing your surface and knowing how to do your surface without walking into a pro shop. You know, get out there, practice. I think a lot of people who can't, like Sam said earlier, you can't carry a 10 pin or you haven't carrying issues. Remember, if you're 180, you're only one frame away from averaging 200. Like it's a 10 pin here or something like that. So a lot of the time it can be surface. You know, a lot of people, oh, I'm leaving flat tens, I'm leaving wrap tens. Your ball is either burning up, retaining too much energy or trying to flip and can't get over because it's working too hard. And that could be a surface issue. So I think knowing your surface is definitely, important. So Panda, anything else people could look forward to in the grand opening this weekend?
Hot food.
Hot food, he said.
We'll both be there. You'll be there too, won't you?
Yes, I'll be there. A little late, but I'll be there.
Everybody gets to come in, have a good time, get to look around of everything, have conversations. If they have any issues, with spans or anything, we'll be there to help. Any questions they have, we'll be there to help. Basically, anything they need or any questions, I think we'll be there to support and help them.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is the support. It's not a competition. That's one thing I hear a lot of that's misconstrued with the pro shop. I think this world, I think people, and I think this community, I think we forget that there's room for everyone. There's enough to go around.
Everyone's welcome.
Everyone is welcome. We had a couple of people who came in who drove from, what was that one day? Was that Newton?
Newton. I have a customer from Florida that we have to ship stuff to now too.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about the shop guy that came in.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was helping out over in the. I don't know that Showtime has a real pro shop anymore. Maybe I'm confusing that with the other bowling alley over there because it's been. I've never bowled in Athens, but anyway, one of the alleys over there doesn't technically have a pro shop, but the center has a drill press and he drills for people when they need it out of there. So.
And I pinned this comment. I like this comment. It's always good to resurface a new bowling ball to your favorite surface as soon as you can get it. As soon as you get it, so you can always reciprocate the same motion every time. And I agree. I'm a big fan of this. Every time I get even when I get the ball, if I'm getting a ball brand new and it says out of box is 2000, I will set it to 2000 myself. I'm a big fan of that. But somebody told me something. I don't know if I want to give y'all that yet, but I don't know. But I'm sure he won't mind. But one of the legends, Terrence Bright, I told him that I do that. And he was like, well, why not play with it out of box for a couple of times? You might win some money because the machines they use are very good to get it to the surface. So, play with it a couple of games, win you some brackets with it, and then resurface it. And I was like, it's not a bad idea, but I am a fan of this, Mike. I do, as soon as I get a ball, even if the box it says 2000, I will do it 2000 of how I normally get to 2000 and then throw it that way. But here's a question for you, Pan. I think is a great question because I think people don't pay attention to their ball. A lot of people talk about burning up. How do you see that on the lane?
Burning up just matters, to me, is dealing with rev rate or if they're using a lot of surface or is more. You're talking about more for me when I see burning up basically on the lane for myself?
No, I think he's asking how can you tell when a ball is burning up?
Oh, I got you. So a lot of people talk about burning up. So
man suited. I steal from Panda. I steal it.
I read this.
So when we're talking about a ball burning up, we're looking at the motion that it's making through the pins. If you have a ball that there's two spots you can see it. If you have a ball that gets to the break point and then doesn't make the turn, problem number one, it didn't have enough energy to make the turn, probably burning up. Step two, if you are watching the ball go through the pins and you hit pretty close to the pocket, you don't have to be perfect with it, but if it hits close to the pocket and it shoots off the deck towards the 9 pin, you got a problem because the ball didn't have enough energy to drive through those pins. So it's not got enough left in the tank. That's a second tall tale sign of the ball burning up. You're trying to get the ball, ideally, right, to split the 8-9 would be fantastic. Because you only have to hit the head pin, the 3 pin, the 5 pin, and the 9 pin to strike. If you can also hit the 8 pin, even better, that's an extra pin you hit. But if you're missing the 5 pin to the right off of the deck, the ball's not got enough energy. It has burned up. So
That is good. So basically, you have to watch the ball going through the pins, Jacob. Appreciate that. Now, I'm sorry, y'all. I had to go get some Kool-Aid. I know it was over. I wanted some Kool-Aid before Juneteenth was over. I missed it by 30 minutes. But so when y'all are bowling, do you find it irritating when people come up to you while you're bowling and ask you pro shop questions?
I don't.
Because how about your teammates? Do your teammates?
They probably don't care as much because we're not actively in. I would say, like, I know Mike's in chat. I bet if Mike's bowling league and someone's like, "Hey, can I run in and grab some tape or buy a shoe slide from you?" and that takes him away from the lanes, his teammates probably get mad. But because we're not in a center and we're freestanding, yeah, you can come up and ask me a question. When my turn's up, I'm still gonna be like, "Hey, give me just a minute. Let me go throw this ball." But they can't take me away from the lane, essentially, and I think that keeps the team a little happier.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, because I ain't gonna lie, bowling with Robert, it'd be crazy sometimes. He'd be like, "Hey man, can you drill this ball?" Like, nigga, we in league. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? And then the crazy thing too, be like, everybody wants to come and complain. Like Monday, I think I got it on video. I hope I did. I had to close the complaint department around this. It was like everybody wanted to come and complain in our area. And like we're in position round and we're battling Joe, Mike, and Billy Rhodey. And I'm like, hey man, we're trying to focus here. Like, we don't care if you left a 9 pin in the 8th frame. Like we're like, come on now. Like, it does get annoying after time, I guess, but you do make a good point. I think when being the fact that you can't actually go into the shop, I think that does help. But boy, is it annoying when people walk up to him and be trying to, especially when he closes the shop and he's waiting for somebody, he's already missed half of practice. And they're like, hey man, can I go in? I just want to buy some tape. Like, dude, you've been in here talking for an hour. You could have brought tape during business hours. So, but Mike said he doesn't care about the questions. But if I'm on a 9-bagger, I agree with that, Mike. Now, let me ask you this too, Sam, because since you started the pro shop, you started working in a pro shop. You said your second year bowling?
Yeah, it was probably my second or third. Let's see. Like I said, I started bowling after high school, so like probably my first league was probably the fall season of 2015. and I started working for Steve sometime in 2017. So I don't quite recall if that was like after my second full season had ended or the exact timeline there. So it was somewhere between my second and third year. Yeah.
Do you think, Dev? Do you think it helped working there your game far as more?
I think for me it did, mostly because like I am a very like technical and analytical person. So it probably would have bugged me, or I might not even still be bowling if I didn't have a better understanding of why I'm bad. If I was just bad and had no reason, no idea why, I think I'd just be annoyed and give up. But because I know why, and I can, it's like, you know, people always say like, oh, those that can't do teach, right? And I feel like
Mm.
that's pretty accurate when it comes to me and the pro shop. Is I love drilling balls for people and then having them come back and be like, oh man, this ball's fucking
Yeah.
amazing, loved this ball. And they're like, oh, I shot, you know, 300 with it out of box. And I'm like, man, that must be nice. Must be nice. Couldn't be me. But yeah, so that.
Now we kind of touched on it when you go into camp, and it's
Mhm.
kind of irritating me, especially as we bowl UBA, we have our own teams, and you see people who can take advantage of lessons now that we have in our area, the bowling factory.
Mhm.
I have gotten countless of lessons. I've been bowling seriously, and when I say seriously, I mean competitively, maybe for like the last 4 years. And
Mhm.
since then, I've gotten 2 lessons from Chris Okoro, 2 lessons from Deontay Fields, countless lessons from his dad, Daryl Fields. And then I've also been to the USBC Training Center. And I can definitely speak of the devil. I was just speaking about you, Deontay. You just joined. But what would you say is some of the advantages of getting a lesson rather than buying a brand new ball, or getting the lesson before you buy the ball to know what you need to buy?
I think the biggest thing, and like I have told this to people in the past when I see someone like consistently buying balls and not wanting to take that lesson. The problem is, I don't know, 95% of bowlers are self-taught. I mean, you go out, you can see how different everybody throws the ball. Like
Mhm.
there's no technical correct way to throw the ball. I mean, you can look at Jacob Buttriff, who I guess has maybe fallen off the last couple of years. I think I don't really keep up with the PBA, unfortunately. Blasphemy, I know,
No,
but
it's not. I don't either.
I remember watching Jacob Buttriff win a few of like his first things, and I'm like, God, that it like hurts my soul to watch that man bowl. Doesn't
How
matter.
is it?
He can
Right.
repeat the shot.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what people need to get to and understand, that the lesson isn't to make you throw the ball the same way that I do. It's to get you into a spot where you can repeat your shot over and over again. And I feel like there's a little bit of ego in everybody that says, I don't need someone to tell me how to repeat a shot.
Hmm.
So I I try and tell people that. I'm like, listen, you know, you're gonna spend $200 on a new ball. A lesson's like $60. Take the lesson. It's an hour long. You know, if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, do you want a $200 ball drilled the wrong way, or that's just going to do the same thing your other 5 balls do? Or do you want to be able to make it do what you want it to do?
Hmm.
So,
I definitely agree. I think it's a pride thing, and I don't understand it with bowling, um, especially with people who are athletes. Like every sport had a coach, so I find it weird that people in bowling have it a little bit like Jacob just said, too much pride. Like I don't understand it. And I definitely agree with what Mike said. There's no perfect way to bowl. It's just maximizing what you do well. We're we're not robots. And I agree, but I think we all can use a touch up every now and then. I think we all kind of form habits that sometimes we don't even see. Um, and I think sometimes that extra eye can help. When you see things that's not, when you have habits that's not there, or I'm sorry, habits that you form, and we all form them every year. Is something new that we start doing, and I think that extra pair of eyes definitely helps. I just, for the life of me, like you said, it's $60, and I've seen people lose more than that pot bowling, or or bowling alley food, or beer that you could have used, definitely to get that lesson. That way, how to throw that ball, or know, like I'm trying to figure out time now to even get back up there to Deontay to get another lesson. Or even I've been even thinking about getting a virtual lesson from Mark Baker. I'm loving what he's doing online. That's kind of what I envisioned in the pro shop, like those type of conversations. And speaking of that, I asked Panda, and he was even there. And what up, Brian? You made me remember this question that I asked Panda, and I'm going to ask you too. What is your opinion on the I'm trying to make sure I say it right. Is it the PLS system?
The PAL system?
PAL system versus the dual angle system.
Well, there's three. There's 2LS/VLS from Storm, and then PAL from Mikey Pinnell and his late father, and then dual angle from Mo Pinnell.
So, because what we do is the dual angle, correct?
We as a shop can do all three.
Well, I'm
as individuals, maybe that we start with dual angle.
That's what I meant. I said we, I meant me and you. That when I said we, not the shop. Yeah. So what makes the difference for what layout you choose to go with a bowler, as far as what system?
I like to think of it as what the person understands the easiest. All systems have their merit. 2LS and PAL a little more for the two-handers rather than the one-handers, obviously. I know VLS, has its place for one-handers. But I think to a degree, like it's a lot easier for someone to understand that is one-handed dual angle as we go number by number. And 2LS and PAL get a little cumbersome to explain, especially when you're like, if you're just trying to show someone a layout on a ball and you show someone a PAL layout that's got like, it does not have 16, but it's got like 7 different arcs on it. And then you're like, this is where your fingers go at the end. And you're like, why? Like that doesn't make any sense. But like a dual angle system is very easy to show someone how we got to a layout, because they're all some version of an N and then a PAP added to it. And you draw it over from there and like, okay, I can see the N and I can see where my PAP got me somewhere. Even 2LS to a little bit, it's got less arcs. It's only got 5, 4. But even then, you can explain it away. But I find that people's minds don't like the look of arcs as much because they're less precise. And I think it's just it's not because it's a worse system. It's because your mind doesn't understand why you drew a straight line off of a curved line. So that's why I tend to use dual angle, especially for people with a thumb, because it's easy to explain. it's easy to have someone that's non-technical understand what's going on.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I want to thank you again for joining me on tonight. And once again, we have the grand opening of Critical Role Bowling Supply. You want to give them the address?
Yeah, it's 1651 Horizon Parkway, Suite 700. That is on the back of the building in Buford, Georgia, 30518. You can type in Stars and Stripes Mall of Georgia. We're the only building next to it. It's a giant guitar building, a music center, and we're on the backside of the music center. Like I said, facing the highway.
Now, I love the shop. Like I said, even when I'm not working, I go in there and I chill and I talk and we talk bowling and I ask them 1,000,003 questions, even in text messages. I ask Sam 1,000,003 questions and he answers me in timely fashion. So I want to thank you once again for joining the show. Know you're always a guest. Once we get the playoff roster, picture finally, maybe we could come back up here, talk playoffs. When we get the new teams on here, you like to join us. Also, what I would love to do is get several different pro shop workers on here, and we just discuss pro shop layouts. We discuss different things in the bowling world. And just have an open conversation. I love this. This is what it's for. But once again, I want to thank Panda for joining us. I know his Wi-Fi went out. He's with Boo Boo Wireless, so I know his, who knows where he's at, but he's probably on Call of Duty by now. But unfortunately for most of you, the show is not over. There's something that happened Monday, but I do have to restart the stream. So if you give me 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you what I witnessed Monday, and there is video for those of you who don't know, just to give you a hint of what happened. So Monday at Lilburn, we have Bowling with the Benjamins, and there's a lot of top-notch bowlers there. There's a team. I can never remember his last name, but I think it's Alan Chapman, and I think that's it. Matter of fact, let me look it up real quick.
Michael Chapman?
Is that correct?
I don't know. Michael Chapman's on Full Throttle.
Well, I know his name is Alan. He doesn't really bowl UBA, but I'm not sure if it's Chapman. But I'm looking it up right
Where's
now.
Josh at when he would actually be helpful? Just kidding.
Right.
We love Josh. Josh is helpful.
Camperson. I'm sorry. Alan Camperson. That's his name. There's a team of Alan Camperson, Tyrone Stevens, Justin Gibbons. There's another team of Mike Simamasku, however you say his last name.
Simasuk, I
Billy
believe.
Rohde and Joe Ennis. There's another team of David Propokoy, Darren Vance, and Derek Andrews. There's another team of where's Panda's team there's another team of Tom Bellinger, Taylor Major, and Josh Randino. Just to give you a kind of view of the type of teams that's in this league. And everybody who's around knows who Justin Gibbons is. Well, somebody challenged Justin Gibbons to $50 a game after league one day. Somebody he was drunk. He was drunk, but he challenged Justin Gibbons, and I have video footage. There was a pot bowl game with Trigg, Justin Gibbons,
Darnell.
Darius Taylor, and Darnell Logan. There was a 4-way pot bowl game, but that ain't even the kicker. The kicker is Justin Gibbons had to bowl underneath his legs for 3 frames. Any 3 frames Triggs picked. And if you want to hear more about that pot bowl game, bear with me for 5 minutes because I got to restart this stream. So I appreciate you, Sam. And I hope you stay on so you can hear this story because it was a wild night. And I do have video footage of what happened. And I will be putting the video out tomorrow. So
Hilarious. I'd love to hear it.
Yes, all I'm gonna say, it was a lot of money on that table. It was funny as hell. And just give me 5 minutes to restart this stream, and y'all will hear all about it. I'm not going to share it across all platforms initially, so it's only going to be on my page. So just give me 5 minutes, and y'all gonna hear this crazy story about how somebody had the kahunas to challenge Justin Gibbons and Darnell Logan to a pot bowl game. All right, bear with me, guys. I'll see y'all in a little bit.